Hello again to everybody and welcome back to In My Shed. This is just continuing on with cleaning up this bracket in the shaper. I'm going to use the almost same chucking in the vise. I did move the workpiece to the right about an inch so the end is overhanging. Now I've got a slight engagement of the tool bit with the workpiece. I had to swing the tool holder around so it's out to the side of the tool holder. And I'm now going to descend the cutting tool with the vertical slide and place down the workpiece. I'm only going to take very, very light cuts. I would like to have the clapper hanging a little bit out. It's only a few degrees off to the side, but we see how we go with this, just a little bit at a time. Usually you find that straight away if it's not going to work, as once again you propel the workpiece over the lathe and into the shelves. And we have cut that. Just barely taking very far off the workpiece. This is what you have to do if the sap's a little bit dodgy. That's a bit more like a cut. I'm cutting over the porous end of the casting there. This should clean up in just a few passes, I'd say. Oh heck, telephone! Okay, back again. One thing about family, they can always call when you're doing something. I've had a couple of light cuts. I've set it across about 12 pound now, so we'll give it another try. It's just paring a little bit off at a time, doing a no stress job. Bit of shaper therapy here. It's now showing witness a bit over halfway, so it'll just be another pass or two and this will be all cleaned up. I know this is a slow way to do it, but when you get to 68 years old, slow isn't too bad. The finish is only poor. I haven't got a finishing tool in there, but I'm still only just cleaning this up so I've got machine surfaces to work with. That's all the way across at the bottom. It's up above the workpiece again. Now I'll cross feed a few more. Okay, back on the way then. Okay, this must be getting boring for you guys. I'll bring you back to the job site. Well, there it is, the job is done. Reasonable finish all over. It leaves a bit of a porous bloody edge with that roughing tool on there, but that's enough. I just wanted to get it squared up for future work. And another good thing about this shaper is the shit box contains all the swarf. So just run the vacuum cleaner or the magnetic wand around that and all the rubbish is cleaned up. Okay, enough on this. We'll move back onto that extra hard cutter and see if I can't progress that job. Thanks for watching. See you later. I'm forever getting requests, can we please have some action shots of grinding? Just following In and out of focus there, that should be a little bit better. I'll see if I can't wind it in and do a few passes. I just added another thou and a bit. And after we do a pass through the cutter, I'll turn all the noise off and show you what I've been doing. Righto, off with the noise. I'll get myself a pointer. Okay, this poor old cutter was very badly damaged. Somebody had given it a bit of a dance with the bench grinder, especially that flute there. I don't know if you can see what remains of a grind. They got stuck into it with the bench grinder and there was a great big scallop out of it. So what I've done, I've tried to do a 2-facet grind. Try and get it around into the light. That might be a little bit better. I've ground in the flute following exactly the spiral, which surprisingly was straight across the top of the edges. And at the front, where it was severely chipped on 3 teeth, I've actually angled the head around a little bit further, and we're taking a grind a little bit like a spiral point or gun tap, but it's still got positive flute angle, so it won't push the chip like a gun tap. But that way I've taken very little material up the flute there, about 2 mil out of that part of the flute, and changed the rake angle, but still about 10 degrees positive. It'll come out reasonably good. Now I'll try and hollow grind the end, and then I can relieve the back and the other part of the tooth here, I think that's called the heel, and turn it back into a cutter. Normally I wouldn't spend this much time on a second-hand cutter, but as I said, they're worth a lot of money, and for me this is a learning experience. There's swarf and shite all over the poor old grinder. I'll have to give it a vacuum down. Now, interestingly enough, I was using a dish wheel and it just wasn't taking any material out, so I changed to a flared cup wheel, but I also changed the brand. And once again, going to Norton brand wheel, the performance just improved out of sight. So the other wheels really aren't doing the job. I'll bring you in from the side again. The other side you might get a bit better view. That's a different angle on the same cutting edge. That's where I've reground the flute to the old standard, and then I've moved the cutter around a little bit. I swiveled the table with the workhead on it, and I've taken probably 15 to 20 thou out of there. You can see what's left of the grind the previous attempt. It's come up quite shiny. A few of the teeth have got a little bit of a ding, but if you take enough off it to completely rejuvenate the cutter, there'll be nothing bloody left. This will still be quite ferocious. 2-inch bloody roughing in, well, you're going to really hog some material out with it. Okay, that's all for now. Please like and subscribe. Bye. Here you are, fellas, something that's a little bit insane. I'm machining the extra hard RMR high-speed steel milling cutter. So we've got a little dimple in the end. I'm just using a SC100 carbide burr, bullnose cylindrical, 240 RPM, a little bit of gooey goop, and as Shaper Andy would say, let's go for it. I just hope I don't hear that horrible banging sound. Nothing's happening fast. But there's just a little bit of material being removed. Okay, well now I've got a dimple to start. I'll get something else out of the glory box. Now we'll try a little bit more. I have a solid carbide drill in there, one of a Sutton kit of, I think it's a V&ME super duper solid carbide drill set. It's even got a thicker shank Very special grind on the end, and I'll probably regret this because it's going to be a lot of dollars thrown away, but let's give it a go. As Shaper Andy would say, let's go for it. 240 RPM, a little bit of gooey goo. And we've got a shrapnel shield up. Houston, we have contact. It's squawking a little bit. Bit more good. All I can do is break the drill. I think I'll tighten up the chuck. I've got a bit of a suspicion that the cutter's moving backwards. It's not wanting to cooperate. Put a bit of superhuman strength there. And a bit more gooey goo. I'm a big fan of lubricating things. Now we could hear a crunch. Try it again. You still in focus, yep. Well, the quill's advancing. That's a bit better. Lock up the tail stock, really. There's a little bit of spore forming. When I was a young bloke, I used to do silly things like this with masonry drills that were reground, drilling through the teeth of a file, etc., to no real end use. But this time it's an actual job in progress. Well, I believe everything I've seen Bruce Witham and Greg Chester do, drilling out high-speed steel taps, etc. This isn't progressing very fast, but there comes the swarf. I feel like an idiot for leaving the tailstock loose, and sometimes I look that part too. Oh, look at that. Drilling a very, very hard high-speed steel cutter. I would not have thought that possible. The way it's been grinding, I'd say it's a fair bit harder than a standard jobber drill or a tap. I've only been able to take 1 thou per pass. Very slow progress, but it is working. And I think that's all I need to try and screw up the end of the cutter. Well, another good bit of video for you. Well, here we go again. I'm surprisingly turning the end of the end mill using a standard Seco TPU end milling insert from the 1990s. It's just TP30 grade, tin coated. I use these in the lathe a little bit because they're virtually indestructible. I quite like them. And not being the best machinist in the world, I don't have too many crashes. Now, I just took about 3 thou off that and it turned reasonably well, so I've gooey gooped the face and let's go for it, see what happens. Another 3 thou. Look at that, the old bloke's turning high speed steel. This is incredible. I'm just trying to relieve the end of the cutter so I've got somewhere for the grinding wheel to run out into. It also allow the cutter to go right up to a shoulder or down onto a surface, which is what you should be able to do with a cutter. And this tripod is really getting in the way of the cross-slide handle. Well, high-speed steel swarf in my lathe. Didn't think I'd ever see the day. There we are. All for now. Please like and subscribe on Miracle TV. Bye for now, guys. Well, everyone, I finally had a win. Most of the problem with drilling the hole in the middle of the cutter was the nut under the tailstock body. It bloody worked its way loose. And even though it was going backwards imperceptibly, I did not see the bloody thing. So the second lot of drilling, I am quite surprised just how aggressive that carbide drill is in this high-speed steel. Although I'll say something's got a very good grind, slow helix, split point, 135 to 145 degree point, and it goes in 4 or 5 millimeters in 30 seconds. I also clamped the carriage down so I can get a bit more force behind the insert. And I'm still on the same corner on that old Seco milling insert. It's done a tremendous job. But now it's given me a little bit of clearance, so I hope I don't bugger up the focus when I get my pointer in there. But I've now got an area where I can grind into, escape behind the cutting edge, a bit like grinding an annular cutter. You've got to have somewhere for the wheel to go. I will get in here and gallop the flutes right back into the relief at the back there. That'll give me plenty of front room. I can also control the rake, and I might bring the rake a little bit closer back to about 8 degrees, 10 degrees, somewhere you don't need a very aggressive front end, but reducing the rake will make it last a lot longer. And in this position you may be able to see the 2 facets of grind. Yes, you can see there I've ground all the way back to here with one grind, and then I came in and reduced the flute angle a little bit to get rid of the damaged and chipped portions at the front there. There's no need to grind all of the flutes back, it just ruins the rest of the life of the cutter. Come up a little bit, there you can see the second grind there quite well, where I managed to grind all the damaged portion out of the front. I think the cutter will perform well, and I think that it's only a milled flute cutter, not ground flute. It looks awful rough in there, and even though the cutting edges represent a straight line, the helix angle in the flute straightens out as you come out of the back, so somehow they've run the cutter through on a spiral. Spiral milling is not quite in my mathematics, especially this kind of spiral, but it's given a changing rake angle and made it very difficult to grind this cutter effectively, so more than just a few of the teeth will cut. Grinding down that far into the gullet I think is necessary to give the chip somewhere to form and to roll out. If you just grind, as I had earlier, up to the top of the teeth there, you can get a little bit of chip fouling, but I think overall it'll perform well. All it needs is to be around like an annular cutter with a bit of clearance on the lands there. I think it'll take about 15 or 20 thou and I'll just colour through there with the colouring wheel. Should be an easy job from now on. Okay, I hope that was a little bit entertaining. Surprised how effective the carbide is, but it is about, 7 or 8 points Rockwell C harder, so you'd expect that. Okay, please like and subscribe, and see you on the weekend. Bye.